we can get started. Okay, and just making sure everyone's able to hear me, right? Okay, oops. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Victoria Custodio, and I'm from the California Department of Public Health. I'm also part of the Active Transportation Resource Center team here in Sacramento. I'd like to welcome all of our participants to the first Active Transportation Resource Center on the Move's Synergy 2023 webinar. Today, we'll be providing you with a number of active transportation resource updates. But before we get started, I'd like to just introduce some of the speakers that you're going to hear from today. All right, so I'm being joined by Kathy McKeon, Angela Shepard, and they're from the Caltrans Office of State Programs within the Division of Local Assistance. They are the leads for the Active Transportation Program at Caltrans, and Angela has been working as the acting Active Transportation Resource Center and Non-Infrastructure Plans Manager since I would say about October of this past year. Michael, we're going to hear from virtually. He's provided a little recording as he's not going to be able to attend today. And then Marianne and myself are the members of the Active Transportation Resource Team based at the California Department of Public Health. And I'll do a little bit more of an introduction about who we are if you're not already familiar with us. Okay, as with all of our webinars, if you haven't joined us in the past, we set some learning objectives so that we are able to focus you in terms of what you're going to be taking away from the next hour and a half. And so for today, our objectives are pretty basic. You're going to meet the new Caltrans Active Transportation and Active ATRC non-infrastructure staff. You're going to learn about existing and upcoming Active Transportation Resource Center projects and partnerships. We'll tout some recent ATRC accomplishments. And then finally, you're going to learn about currently available self-paced trainings and other web-based resources. Oops, okay. Sorry. All right, just a few logistics before we get started. Today, we're going to take your questions throughout the meeting by using the chat function. Very pleased to have Marianne and Angela helping to answer some of the chat functions, but we will have a robust question and answer session following all of the presentations. At the end of the presentation, we ask that you complete a post-webinar attendee survey. And then finally, as we've mentioned earlier, the webinar will be recorded and shared with all registered participants. So we get that question a lot when we're hosting these webinars. And so just know that you will have access to this information. So it's really, I think, good practice to just sit back, listen, take it all in, because you know you'll have a recording along with the presentation afterwards. All right, so just again, by way of a more formal introduction, this webinar is being facilitated by the California Department of Public Health Active Transportation Resource Center team, which includes right now Marianne Hernandez and myself. For those of you who aren't familiar with us, I'm going to speak a little bit more about what we do, but we really do see ourselves as active transportation resources to the entire state. And so the way that we've been kind of triaging technical assistance is that we've aligned ourselves with the Caltrans local assistance offices. And so for now, Marianne has she's the liaison for quite a few more of the states because we're down some staff, but we are happy to say that we'll also be hiring for a team member back to replace someone that moved on, and as such we'll be reassigning our districts. But for now, we wanted to let you know that this is how we're seeing ourselves helping to serve the entire state. All right, so I'm going to stop talking for a minute and actually turn it over to Kathy McKeon so that she can do a welcome.
Well, welcome, everybody. Good morning. I'm glad you joined us so early in the morning. First, I wanted to thank both Victoria and Marianne for putting this on. They're our partners, as she noted, for the ATRC. My staff and myself, we are the leads for the ATRC, but we work very closely and rely heavily on Victoria and Marianne for all their expertise on the CDPH side. So with that, I'll introduce myself. I'm Office Chief for the Office of State Programs in the Division of Local Assistance, which is over the ATP program, the Active Transportation Program. And within that program, they fund the ATRC, which is the Active Transportation Resource Center. So that is, what they're going over today is all the valuable tools that we provide in the ATRC. So my background a little bit is I have worked in and out of state service and private practice. I have been, I'm a registered professional engineer and have been for over 30 years and have worked in transportation and active transportation throughout the state. So with that, I'm gonna introduce Angela Shepard and turn it over to her for introduction.
Hello, good morning. Thanks for being with us today. My name is Angela Shepard, and I'm the acting ATRC and Active Transportation Non-Infrastructure Program Manager. And I've been in this role, as Victoria mentioned, since October. And my background also includes, nonprofit sector is where I started, and I interned with the city of Roseville, and I've been with Caltrans for 11 years. So, yes, glad to be here. And did you want me to share anything else, or is this good?
Yeah, so I think we're, before we turn it over to Michael's little presentation for his introduction, I am going to say that we do have two positions that are vacant. Currently, we're in the process of hiring one, but not ready to be announced, or actually both of those positions. And then Angela, her last day here will be next week. So she's moving on and going to be working for GoBiz, and I really wanted to take the time to thank her for her time here and for acting. She's done a great job. But we will be putting that position out. So I'm going to have a plug, if you know of anybody who might be interested in that, it's a associate transportation planner. I'm just going to put that out there. And with that, I think you can roll into Michael's little introduction video.
Okay, great. All right, folks, bear with me while I pull up a different screen. There you are. All right, so we're going to hear from Michael Hutnick now and share this wonderful video he's prepared.
I'm Michael Hutnick with the Caltrans Division of Local Assistance, Office of State Programs, Active Transportation Program. I'm currently working in support of the Active Transportation Resource Center, better known as the ATRC. Why don't I tell you a little bit more about myself and the work that we do? As you'll see today, the Active Transportation Resource Center is invested in the success of active transportation projects throughout the state. And I couldn't be more excited to be working with all of our amazing ATRC partners to support the work that they're doing. You'll also get to know me as one of the main points of contact for the active transportation, non-infrastructure, and plan projects. But let me tell you a little bit more about why this work is important to me. So, like many kids, my first ticket to freedom was cycling. And my love for the bicycle and many other forms of active transportation has only grown since then because of what I've learned about the effects on the environment, on physical health, and the rest of it that we all understand being in this space. But we also understand that cycling is not a safe and available mode of transportation for a lot of people throughout the state. And that's what really drives me the most, is to make sure that the options that I have available to me are there for everyone else, and the encouragement is there for them to take that up. So I'm sorry I couldn't be here today with you guys, but I'm sure that we'll be working together in the future to make California a better place for active transportation. Thank you for your time.
All right. As you can see, he's very engaged, and you'll enjoy working with him. With that, I'll turn it back over to Victoria.
Great, thank you. Michael is a pleasure to work with, as has Angela been. So we were happy that he was able to do a video for this webinar. He's sorry that he couldn't attend, but I'm sure all of you will be getting to know him through this work. All right. All right, so with that, I'm going to launch into our presentation. Again, the purpose of this webinar is to give you an overview and updates on the Active Transportation Resource Center, what we've been doing, how we're set up. We always get a wide array of people attending our webinars who have a different level of engagement or understanding of what we do. So this is going to really provide a pretty basic interview, but we're also going to get into some specifics about what we've been up to of late. And then again, we had the robust question and answer period. So if you've got anything that needs to be questions that you want to ask during that session, we'll be able to address it then. So first off, the Active Transportation Resource Center is a project, as Kathy said. We're part of the Caltrans Office of State Programs, but we see ourselves as mission driven and with a mission specifically to provide resources, technical assistance, and training to transportation partners across California with the vision to increase the opportunity of the success of active transportation projects. All right, sorry, there's lots of screens here. So again, the operating structure is Caltrans serves as the lead, but what they're able to do through the HRC and the way it's been set up is utilize a combination of subject matter experts comprised of different folks with a commitment to active transportation from state agencies, universities, and consultants to deliver the actual project. So, all right, so this is an at a glance look at what we do, and I'm going to speak to some a little more in depth, but the big picture, the 30,000 foot picture of the active transportation is that we are all about services and provisions. We have a website, and Marianne's going to be talking about some things that you want to check out on that website. We've done a whole host of local agency trainings. We do local agency technical assistance, which we'll speak about in a little more depth in just a bit. Lots of resource development specific to the ATP, but also reflective of the needs of active transportation in California as a whole. We've worked with our partners to develop some unique data and analysis tools. We are in the early stages of some equipment loan programs, and then really what we're trying to do with this series and a lot of the other things that we do is to create some networking opportunities, because there is strength in networking and synergy impacts to our work, so that we can really serve the goal of the ATP to advance walking and bicycling. All right. So again, this is at a glance, and I'm going to talk about some of these partners and the works that they're doing under the HRC umbrella. But this is who we're currently working with, and then also some of the past partners. The past partners here are italicized on this slide. So again, I'm Victoria with the California Department of Public Health, and so we've been a partner since the HRC's inception with ATP Cycle 1. Other partners right now include Nelson Nygaard, UC Davis, and they will be partnering with CSU Long Beach. So we'll talk a little bit about that. UC Davis also operates a number of different functions within the HRC. So this is, so they should be double bulleted on this. UC Berkeley Safe Trek has been a partner. California Walks, the Southern California Association of Governments has been a great advisor to the ATRC, lending their experience from the biggest MPO region in the state. And then great partners have included California State University, Sacramento, as well as Local Government Commission. Those projects are not active at this point, but lots of the resources and training recordings that have been provided under those contracts. All right. So I'm going to break this down a little bit more, and I'm going to start with California Department of Public Health first. I do see that there are some chats coming in, and just so you know, we will be looking at those and reading, moving through those questions during the question and answer. But Angela and Marianne will do their best to supply questions, answers as they can. But let me, turn to this California Department of Public Health overview slide. So, so our role is really as an on-call consultation provider for local agencies, cities and counties that are implementing or developing non-infrastructure projects. And so those projects can be standalone projects. They can also be combination projects. In addition to that, local agency technical assistance, we provide this webinar series, a statewide non-infrastructure focused webinar series. And I'll talk a little bit about what we've done in the past and what we're looking ahead to do. We offer a newsletter and with relevant information highlighted in a concise way so that you've got a little more inspiration when we're not meeting for webinars and trainings. We have a lot of non-infrastructure focused resources that we've developed over the years, and we're looking to do more and more as new issues emerge. Just a few of the ones that we wanted to highlight here are walk and bikes to school toolkits, our ease fact sheets, our non-infrastructure project profiles, and then we do work closely with Caltrans, the ATP team, to issue welcome packets to new awardees at the start of every cycle. And then our goal at CDPH is really to help facilitate and solidify state agency public health and transportation collaboration. We advise Caltrans not only on the HRC, ATP, and Safe Routes to School non-infrastructure activities. We actually are involved with some other Caltrans efforts as well to advance complete streets and safety for vulnerable road users. So just you've seen our pictures here, and so just to say again, the way we've been set up is to align ourselves with Caltrans local assistance, which are really amazing and front line partners in ATP support. So for now, Marianne is acting to triage the requests that might come in or from different districts, but we will be getting another staff hopefully in the near future who can help us manage the work. But what you can do is you can email us with any questions. We have a lot of experience collectively supporting non-infrastructure programs, different kinds of activities and partnerships that might be lucrative. We're always here to work through different challenges you might be facing. And we certainly, we understand a lot of what non-infrastructure projects have to go through, so we can help you maneuver the steps needed to kind of to be in a better position to implement your project successfully. All right, so I'm going to switch over now to the webinars that we're hosting, which you're on right now. So welcome again to the first webinar series for 2023. So the structure of these, usually we try to have them quarterly. They are around 1 to 2 hours, and they use this web-based platform. In the past, we tried to brand a series so that there were some slight nuances. And so we had a perspectives where we were looking to just address topics of interest for all active transportation implementers, not necessarily just ATP. But now we realize we really just need to dig down and focus on the needs of ATP implementers and create opportunities for folks to network and learn from one another, because there are challenging aspects to this program that that we want to focus on. So this webinar series is called Synergy 2023. So for the year ahead, we're looking to really work closely with Caltrans staff. We will be doing a welcome webinar for Cycle 6 attendees. We are also looking to, due to sustainability reasons for programs, we're going to be doing additional webinars on funding opportunities for non-infrastructure programming that is beyond the ATP. There have been some legislative updates around e-bikes and education provisions, so we're going to circle back and do that. And then for those of you that had signed up for our December webinar last year on evaluation, we are going to be revisiting that topic in this upcoming year. So now that we have a little more grounding in terms of what our assistance will be and how to move forward. Okay, so just some of the past webinars that we've conducted, and these are all available, I believe, on the website. And if you're having difficulty finding any of them, you can always reach out to Marianne or myself. But we did do an intro on e-bikes and how they further active transportation in California and help us to meet all of our different climate and health and mobility goals and equity goals. We did a wonderful Safe Routes to School program and showcased how they benefit not just the students being served, but the entire community. One of my favorite webinars of last year for certain. Previously, we've done first last mile active transportation connections, and we've shown how those processes for developing first last mile. We've featured understanding the vision behind zero traffic fatalities and Vision Zero efforts. We focused and showcased some really innovative encouragement campaigns, including the Skags Go Human campaign. And then we've enlisted the support and expertise of different transportation behavioral health specialists, behavior change specialists about what really works. So those are different recorded webinars and slides that we have along all of these webinars have corresponding resources that are connected resources. So those are available if upon request, if you're having difficulty finding them on our website. So I'll talk next about our newsletters. If you're on our ATRC listserv, and we're assuming that you are because you're able to attend this event, you will also be receiving ATRC newsletters. These are, again, an opportunity just to look and see what the ATRC is doing, what some innovative partners are working on. And then we also do our best to highlight resources and best practices that we come across through our network. And so all of these newsletters are also archived on our website and available again beyond the time that they're launched. So take a look. Next, I'll highlight some of the project profiles that are part of the resources that we've developed to date. So these project profiles provide a summary of different ATP funded completed projects. And they're 2-pagers, they're fun, they're colorful, they're helpful for communicating both quick facts as well as outcomes and benefits and specifics of the project. So I'm going to speak a little bit more about project profiles under a different contract, but just you can kind of take a snapshot of this in your brain and know that this is something that we would love to have for every single ATP project. So again, this gives us an opportunity to highlight the great work that's being conducted under the ATP program and helps really, I think, our friends at the CTC and all of the other folks that are supporting active transportation around the state to understand the value of these projects and why it's so important to keep the program well supported and funded. All right, so as far as targeted HRC initiatives, this is where I'm going to get a little bit more into our partners' work. So just a quick review, I'll talk about each of these. Some are active, some are still pending, but we wanted to give you an overview of what's both active and coming forward because we think it's great work and we want to be able to shed some light on the great work that our partners are doing. So just quickly, I'm going to talk about the Disadvantaged Communities Technical Assistance Program that's currently active. The Evaluation Technical Assistance and Evaluation Framework, also an active contract. We have a really amazing ATP benefits cost calculator tool. Sorry, there's a missing word tool here. It's actually a phase two-phase project, and so the phase one actually is complete. I apologize for my typo here. I can correct that, but it's actually complete, and then phase two is pending. Our kit of parts project, pilot project, that I'll talk about a little bit, is complete. And oops, sorry, just having some trouble visualizing. The statewide active transportation counts database is pending. All right. So I'm going to start with the DAFTA program. And just up front, the purpose of this project is to provide no-cost technical assistance to agencies with projects serving disadvantaged communities. It's a group that's selected with every round of ATP. As you'll see in the next few slides, it's really comprehensive technical assistance with a very well defined scope. We understand from having this program in existence for some time that it's very, very rewarding for the agencies that receive this work, and it really has helped folks refine what they're doing and be more competitive in the ATP statewide competition. So just a little bit of background. The program started with ATP Cycle 2. The initial work that was actually conducted by local government commission in partnership with some other agencies was a little different in concept and delivery than what it is now. So it was more workshops and less hands-on with local agencies. And since then, it's really been the work is really like drilled down to focus on the needs of local recipients and so local agencies. So you can see it's grown over time, partly because of funding and the earlier success. Right now we are in the cycle 6 contract. So you can see that there's a good percentage of local agencies that are able to submit because of the technical assistance, and then they are set up for better success in terms of funding. All right. So here's just a quick timeline of what the DAC technical assistance includes. So the consultant team has been working since last year to provide technical assistance. They did help the cohort submit, have the part of them to submit, and then others are actually gearing up for cycle 7. And they'll be working with that cohort through June of 2023, and then delivering some final reports to Caltrans about the work that they were able to do. The current contractors have a wonderful technical assistance curriculum that includes joint workshops with module-based that are module-based and have group activities. They do a lot of one-on-one support, meeting regularly with the team of TA providers. They also have informal office hours where questions can be answered. There is a lot of homework that is assigned to local agencies based on just the ATP application and how much is kind of needed for each section and so that's I think an important coaching tool. And then finally, the consultants do a lot of site-based work, including site visits and meeting with community event members to help with engagement, which is such a key component of a successful active transportation program application. All right, so sorry, there's a lot on this slide. So again, this is a little more just drill down of the work that is being conducted. So the curriculum talks about the specifics of active transportation and the needs of the community that's being served. There's work on helping develop project scopes, building partnerships, working with data and tools, really drilling down and looking at all possible safety measures. Again, I mentioned the site visits before. And then for the cycle 7 cohort, they're really looking to start kind of preparing ATP applications and such in May, and then doing that deep dive that includes looking, preparing the application, but then also looking at additional funding opportunities, and then building in some knowledge about what's evaluation requirements. All right. All right, there we go. All right, so this is a separate contract, the evaluation technical assistance contract. It also happens to be administered by Nelson Nygaard, and the focus of this one is to assist local agencies, particularly disadvantaged communities, in gathering before and after project data for ATP reporting. As everyone knows, ATP projects have count before and after project count requirements. And so this evaluation technical assistance is going to be set up to help assist agencies in understanding the expectations and providing more focused assistance in figuring out how to meet those requirements. This evaluation contract will also help, will also lead to new project profiles for those projects that have been completed. And then lastly, and this is kind of innovative and definitely something that we're super proud of, this contract will be proposing an evaluation framework for consideration by the California Transportation Committee, ATP program, for future use. So that is something exciting, and I won't be able to go into the details of that today, but I can talk a little bit about some of the discussions that have been happening. So I'll start off with that evaluation framework. So the consultants are putting together a matrix checklist of different active transportation project performance indicators for consideration and data collection methods, so that there are more ideas about how the project could be evaluated beyond ATP, active transportation user counts. The framework will look to highlight both opportunities to collect qualitative and quantitative data, and then be specific to different project types. So understanding that non-infrastructure projects are very different from infrastructure projects, and the performance indicators for different projects might be different. Again, just the hands-on technical assistance. The process that the consultants will be doing is to establish a process for requesting evaluation counts related TA. And then once that process has been established, there will be an opportunity for them to provide actual TA for, I believe, around 7, well, I shouldn't even say, a limited number of agencies, so that they can be assisted in their data collection efforts. This TA is expected to begin around June 2023, and then it will be ongoing through July 2025. And then these project profiles are part of a data display and infographics. So the consultants are starting to develop new project profiles of completed projects, but then they also will be developing roll-ups and infographics of so that the impacts of the ATP program on the whole can be showcased in a more concise document. So instead of just looking at all the individual project profiles, you can see the big picture one. All right, so this is a slide that we're keeping in just to talk about different performance indicators. We figure that people will be asking, well, how do you know which ones should be selected? So the consultants have come up with these principles to help guide the selection. And just wanted to say that this work has already been presented to the ATP Technical Advisory Committee, and nothing has been confirmed or decided. But as far as the selection of performance indicators, the principles will be as followed. They'll build upon an existing strategic and policy framework. The indicators will illustrate where the program is making a difference. The focus will be on indicators that are easy to understand and have broad appeal. To the extent possible, data, the use of data will be that's available from others already in a work stream. Consideration of transferability of performance indicators to other programs is a factor. And then, of course, this will reflect on the legislative priorities of the ATP program and its intent. So if you haven't looked at those goals in a while, they're everywhere. And so we all know kind of what we're working towards in terms of shaping the ATP program. All right, so I'm going to shift gears, and hopefully you're still with me, and talk a little bit about the ATP benefits cost tool. And don't mind, I'm just gonna. I had some specific notes on this one that I wanted to share, and I'm sorry that I've lost my way a little bit. Oh goodness. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Sorry. All right. So, oh goodness. No, I'm sorry. Let me just stick to the slide and see. So I lost my notes a little bit on this, but we do have a robust active transportation benefits cost tool. This has been developed by UC Davis under a contract. And it was presented to the Active Transportation Program's Technical Advisory Committee upon completion. And so far, the project and deliverables have resulted in a white paper based on research benefits of active transportation, a tool that's web-based, and you'll see it on the next screen, a user guide and technical guide for the tool itself, and then some training materials. So this is the link for the tool itself, and I'm sad to say that we weren't able to have Dylan Fitch on the webinar with us today, but this is the tool that's been delivered. We encourage folks to see it, check it out, and try it out, but also be aware that it is the tool is going to be updated with a second version. So I'll speak about that. And this tool is going to provide some additional validity testing of the phase 1 tool, along with calculation improvements based on feedback from the ATP Technical Advisory Committee. The contract will also allow UC Davis to input data on projects and calculate program level benefits as part. And so again, just further further testing the phase 1 tool. And then the enhancements that are being visualized and will likely be part of this next phase are the monetization of benefits. And then there will also be increased functionality in terms of calculation with filters by geography, elements, and funding. And then certainly one of the limitations of the phase 1 project is that non-infrastructure benefits were only provided qualitatively. And so there's some, hopefully some push to quantify those non-infrastructure benefits. And then additional outreach and training will be conducted as part of the phase 2 project. So unfortunately, I don't have a timeline on the phase 2 yet, but we are hopeful that this will be in effect before the end of this calendar year. All right, so the Kit of Parts pilot project is a wonderful project. It's a complete project that was delivered in collaboration with California Walks and Go Human. For those of you who don't know about the Kit of Parts project out of the Skag region, there are some links in here that you'll be able to click on after this webinar, and just to see really the breadth and depth of this wonderful regional program that we, through this pilot program, wanted to expand upon, so that we could test its feasibility in other parts of the state. So again, the Kit of Parts is a kit that contains components of for easily setting up demonstration projects that agencies can use for public engagement and to showcase future bike ped facilities that they might want to develop, but really want to first ensure that they have public engagement on, to ensure that they're doing so in a way that works for the community that's being served. So in this project, 3 agencies participated. Agencies borrowed the kit from the Active Transportation Resource Center, and were actually from Skag to do the demonstration projects that were facilitated in partnership with California Walks. And then all 3 used this pilot as an opportunity for future active transportation project application development, and specifically to gather community engagement. So these are just some visuals that we wanted to share to whet your appetite for demonstration projects, and specifically how colorful and inviting and easy the Skags program is. So just a shout out to the three regions that were able to participate. We had Butte County, Fresno, and Stanislaus working on this project, and wonderful California Walks was at the helm, just making sure that everything went well. So there's a summary webinar of this pilot that's on the Skags Toolbox Tuesday channel. So you'll be able to access this link after the webinar. There are final project and recommendations reported on the California Walks website. And then if you have time, we really encourage you to go look at the Skag Go Human Kit of Parts website itself. There's lots of information about what they do. If folks are interested in learning more, we certainly want to hear about it, and because we really do think demonstration projects are a great way to educate about infrastructure improvements and increase public engagement and understanding of how the built environment can be improved for pedestrian and bike safety and mobility. All right, so I wanted to also talk about very briefly the statewide active transportation counts database. So this is a pending contract with the selected consultants as UC Berkeley and SafeTrek. UC Berkeley SafeTrek and Davis as the sub-consultant. The focus is to develop statewide methodologies for counting and storing volumes of active transportation users. And again, Skag is going to be an important partner on this work. They'll be advising the consultant team on the database development, given previous expertise and experience with regional database development. And one of the things that's really important to know about this project, that it will result in final ATP counts methodology. Right now, the methodology that's out there for the active transportation program and all of the implementers is interim. And so this project will result in final ATP count methodology. Wanted to also highlight that UC Davis is going to grow in its role as an ATRC partner. So this partnership is, this depth of partnership is pending. We really hope it comes through soon. And so they will be our university affiliate, primary university affiliate, and bridging research and practice. So the role that they will be playing is to coordinate design and engineering focused trainings. They'll be assisting with events and meeting logistics, including the ATP Symposium, future ATP Symposium, and also the ATP Technical Advisory Committee. They'll be revamping the existing website and the ATRC listserv. They will be in the position of conducting the ATRC biannual needs assessment, and they will be working closely with Caltrans and all ATRC partners to figure out a better system for managing the automated counter loan program. All right, so that was a lot of my talking, and at this point, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Marianne, who's going to talk about different resources that you can access at this point in time.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Victoria. That's a lot of information. And as we mentioned, you can always contact us for more details. And I've seen some questions in the chat as well. So, and then as a reminder, the information that we presented, many of them have links to directly to what your questions might ask. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to go back to our ATRC, and I'm going to focus on the online trainings that are available now. And just remember that they're there and that you can access them now. And Victoria talked a bit about the On the Move series, and I know we had a question earlier about them. There are quite a few on our site, but I'm not going to go over those. There's actually 65 trainings. So please, on that the second bullet here, ATRC On the Move series, you'll have the 22 webinars that we conducted last year that Victoria highlighted a few of them, as well as past ones. And they're all very good. And just like this webinar, the recording resources and slides are available. I'm going to focus on training workshops and the online trainings and our past symposiums. Next slide. Thanks, Victoria. The flash trainings, we have several that are on there that might be useful for you. The this first one, the medium household income American Fact Finder, has been renamed. They keep renaming it. It was American Fact Finder. It was census data. Now it's back to census again. It is the it will be data.census.gov. So it always changes, but it can give you your census data for your census tract to determine if your community is a disadvantaged community. That's just one tool. We also have the free and reduced lunch. There are many tools to do that, but we did want to highlight this flash training, which shows you how to maneuver through that site. The next flash training is on the transportation injury mapping system, better known as TIMS. It has been developed over the past 10 years plus by SafeTrack at Cal Berkeley to provide quick, easy, and free access to California crash geocoded data to make it easy to map crashes. So again, the need to demonstrate the need in your community. So that's the TIMS data. The next ones are sort of self-explanatory here, how to put together master agreements for non-traditional partners. That's a 12-minute video. Partnering with the California Conservation Corps. As you all know, when you submit your application for ATP, you need to also have a letter saying yes or no if you're from the California Conservation Corps, and that goes through that. And then the guidance on non-infrastructure work plan, the one that's on there now is the 22R, which is now the 25R, but you could still, it's 14 minutes and you could still, it will help you in putting together your application. Especially the 22 and 25R is a very specific, what you'll be doing, how much it will cost, etc. And then finally, this is continuing to evolve. And we'll have a final one soon. It's right now it's called the Interim ATP Count Methodology Guidance. And a flash training is basically someone talking and going through slides. So it's not interactive like our webinars or anything like that. So it's a little different. It's just a different format. Next slide. Now I'll go over the 3 workshops that we've done. The first workshop we did in December of 2019. And that was in preparation for cycle 5. And this workshop, it's a bit lengthy because it's a half-day webinar, workshop live. It was recorded, and there were examples of successful non-infrastructure programs in Northern California. So that we had people presenting from many counties up here, and county agencies that work together to submit their NI applications. The next workshop is the ATP Next Step for Cycle 5. And this is quite a beneficial one. It's broken down by each step, and there's 6 steps, and it goes from allocation all the way to progress reporting. So that is a very useful slide. Granted, it's cycle 5, but the procedures are pretty much the same. And then the other workshop we presented in, this was in 2022 was the District 6 Central Valley workshop that we presented, and it would focus on different the NI portions of combination projects, and we highlighted a couple of Central Valley projects that really work together and were quite successful in the NI portion of their projects. So those were the 3 workshops. Those are lengthy recordings, but the resources, slides, etc., all online. The next slide. And then these are training specific, and they're sort of self-explanatory. We have here the California Local Technical Assistance Program, or the LTAP, and that's run through Cal State Sacramento. And most of these, if you look at the URLs, they're all on our CAATPresources.org site, but this one is separate, and it's run through Cal State University, and it is geared more towards engineers, etc. So it's not focused a lot on infrastructure, but they come out. You may have seen them if you're on our ATRC listserv. They come out quite often, and they're training specifically for, again, engineering type issues. The next 3 are more active transportation focused, and they are the bicycle transportation online basic principles of planning and design. And again, that's self-paced, and introduction of how you decide on what bicycle facility to use. And it has several modules, and to go through all of them, it takes about 2 hours. And then the next 2 are more focused on pedestrian facilities to make it safer for pedestrians. And these are hosted by the FHWA staff. And again, they are generally broken up, and their recordings are online, and they're both there. The safe transportation for every pedestrian goes through all the facilities that you can use to make pedestrians safer. And then finally, the last training that might be of resource to you are our symposium. Next slide. Thank you. These were just excellent. I must say that we have them online under our trainings tab on our atpresources.org. I don't want you to forget our URL. The last one we had was in 2021, and these symposia happen, symposiums every 2 years. So we had one in 2019 and we had one in 2021. And the speakers were excellent on a variety of topics, and we often refer to them and actually call on those experts now. We have the slides, we have the recording and resources, they're all online. And we are, just FYI, we're going to skip, this would be the 2023 would be the next year we have it, but we're gonna skip that one because of just all the migration of everything to different contractors. So I do recommend that you all go and just look, if nothing else, look at the titles, look at the speakers, and you'll be quite impressed for these two symposium. And I want to thank Emily Abrahams, who's a former ATP NI director. She did an excellent job in getting these going. And as a reminder, everything that I've gone over is the flash trainings, the workshops, and the symposium. All of those are online, and as I said, they include the recording, the slides, and the resources. I'll turn it back to Victoria. At least she got a little break. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Marianne. I just love this. It's almost like a walk down memory lane, but there's a lot of good work that's happened over time, and it's very good to be able to know that technology can work in our favor and allow us to revisit some of these great trainings that have happened previously. All right, so before we get to the question and answer section, we just wanted to offer up one particular highlight from the ATRC team from last year, and also express our gratitude given that there's just been a number of large-scale changes happening. And so we wanted to first point out that the Active Transportation Resource Center was selected last year as the California Transportation Foundation's 2022 Public Outreach Program of the Year. And so we understand that the foundation is hosting a new 2023 award ceremony, but we were very ecstatic to be selected for the Public Outreach Program of the Year last year. The Caltrans HRC team that submitted and nomination also included the Office of State Programs, HRC staff, along with partners, CDPH, and then at that time, California State University, Sacramento's College of Continuing Education. And so we just want to, again, Marianne mentioned Emily before, we wanted to express our gratitude both to Emily Abraham, Summer Lopez, Amanda Baker, and Tracy Cohen for their past leadership and dedication to the ATRC. It's been a wonderful working group, and I know it's changing, and we're going to have an equally wonderful working group moving forward. But just want to shout out to all of the past efforts, because it's really created a foundation for us to move forward on. All right, I know you're sick of hearing from me, so we can, but you're going to hear from me a little bit longer in terms of facilitating questions and answers. So Marianne and Angela and Kathy, I actually was hoping that you could come off mute and put your cameras on and join me for the Q&A. I will be, thanks so much. I'll be looking at the chat right now, Marianne.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to go from bottom to top. Bruce, thanks for all your questions. The first one that I think that Beverly from the California Transportation Commission answered was about cycle 7. And the application should be due the call for projects are out in March 2024, as Beverly mentions, and applications are due June 2024. Let's see.
Great. And Marianne, before I pause, and I'm so sorry, I was remiss to do this earlier, but we're very happy to have the California Transportation Commission ATP staff on this webinar with us. And so Lori Waters, Beverly Newman, and Alika Jangizi are with us. And so if you all want to also come off camera, come on screen and join us in answering questions. We do know some of the questions that we've received are related to the ATP Cycle 7 program, so we'd want you to be able to answer those. So thanks so much for joining us, and yeah, so very pleased to have them today to be able to answer some questions that might come in. All right, Marianne, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay, it looks like Bruce had a question about Tim's.
So I think I can actually say that I reached out to our safety program manager to see, I know that there was some effort to look at these areas where there are near misses. And I will try to, if you could put your link in the, your email in the chat, then I can try to get back to you and respond to that to see what the efforts are. And see if there's any resources that are available to the local agencies to roll in these near miss locations so that it's not just considering those that had, already we are well aware has a problem.
And I'll chime in here too. So one of the tools that we actually didn't highlight, it was developed by SafeTrack, not necessarily for the ATP, but it's really been beneficial to some local agencies and in terms of collecting near miss data. So there's a tool called Street Story, and it allows for the collection of crowdsourced data on transportation collisions, near misses, general hazards, and safe locations to travel. So the Street Story tool is free and to use and publicly accessible. So we will be sure to add that as another link in the resources that go out. But there are some training tools on how to use it. You have to set up an account, and I think you want to be deliberate in how you use that, and then also you can benefit from the technical assistance from UC Berkeley SafeTrack on how to make sure that you're collecting data that's not duplicative and valid and reliable. That's something that they're able to do, but we can certainly include that tool as well.
Thanks, Colleen, for putting the link to Street Story in the chat. Much appreciated.
Thank you. All right, Miriam, where are we going next?
I don't see any. I looked over any. Angela, did you see any that we haven't answered in the chat?
I did see.
Oh, I'm sorry. There was one. The question was asking about the automated counter loan program.
Yes.
It says, does it use a camera? How does one borrow?
That's great. So I'll give just a high view of the previous automated counter loan program. It's kind of been on hold because again, UC Davis is going to be assuming that role as part of their upcoming contract. But yes, so the ATRC was able to purchase a number of different counters, technology counters, and so there are 2 pyro boxes, 2 tubes, and then also some myovision cameras. And so there's a process that was set up by Sac State, who did the pilot for the counter loan program. So we'll probably build off of that. But there's usually a form that needs to be filled out. There's an initial screening with the local agency that wishes to borrow it. There's considerations of timing. So you really want to be borrowing the counters based on when you're going to be conducting your before and after counts for your project. So you need to have all of those details. If not for that initial screening, then definitely before the counters are able to be deployed. But then the counters are actually shipped, and then there's a specified time for borrowing them. And then there's some back-end assistance that can be provided if you use myovision or echo counter in terms of how to retrieve the data that is it's different for each different set of counters. So Kathy or Angela, do you want to elaborate more on that?
I would say that Michael is the expert in the counter loan program. So I put his contact in the chat. If you'd like to contact him for further details, I suggest that, as well as any questions regarding positions. I also put my contact information in the chat so you can capture that. I did want to note, as far as the counts are concerned, CalSmarts, and you may have mentioned this and I missed it, but you now put your counts in CalSmarts. Those are actually uploaded, and they're expected to be uploaded, before you award the contract for the pre-counts. And then, you would submit your counts in CalSmarts as part of, correct me if I'm wrong, Angela, but I think it's as part of the final delivery report, or is that when they actually submit their post project counts?
Yeah, the completion report.
Okay, which is before your final delivery report. So
Yeah,
there's,
exactly.
be sure and look at those, if you are awarded a project, be sure and look closely at those interim calc guidance. Until we have the final one, there are very specific instructions on, when you need to have those counts done. And, if you miss it, then that means, it could be a whole nother year. And I will say that they are looking at, when those counts are done for the final guidance. So more to come on that.
Great.
I'd like for Bruce, Bruce is from Cal Berkeley Safe Trek. So Bruce, I'm gonna unmute you, and can you talk about the link you put in the chat?
Yeah, actually, I'm from Bike Walk Castro Valley. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, I was just, there are a number of now online, in addition to the Safe Treks, there's also this thing called Upride, which I get emails all the time from those guys. They're a camera company called Cyclique that sells cameras, and they have this software that you can upload your video and some explanation, and it has it's a geolocation and everything. And I, as a cyclist, I watch every single video that they send me, because I just, it's, and they're harrowing. Sometimes they're collisions, sometimes they're close, near misses. But then there's another one, cyclistevidence.com as well. It's a similar type of thing. So it just seems like those are really key. Like, in my case, I know so many people, so many parents who are afraid to let their kids ride or bike to school. I had a parent who was he did start walking. He was very inspired by my daughters and myself riding to school. So he started walking, and he had a long distance and a very steep hill. And as soon as he saw a car cross over the sidewalk and hit a fence, he wasn't even there for the collision. He just saw the aftermath. He stopped walking. So he told me that was why he stopped walking. So
Sad.
Yeah, very sad indeed. And so I think we just need to, that's not going to be captured anywhere, right? So in these applications, we need to somehow capture that. And I think somebody made another comment about not just the actual near misses, but the need conflicts avoided. So even before you get to the actual near miss. But my daughter, she got hit by a truck, and she didn't get into the TIMS because the CHP didn't even want to take a report. So
Right. Yeah, there are limitations. Thanks, Bruce. I did want to get to another question that sort of diverts from counts a little bit. The question is from Jean.
Mary Ann, can I just respond?
Oh,
to Bruce
sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The application does allow for other forms of data that can be used to show the safety issues of a project area, because we well realize that TIMS does not capture everything. So the sources that you noted could be used in the application.
Bruce had a follow-up question too that was typed in the chat. Is the idea of counts to show how effective the project was? Is there a before and after? Did you want to respond to that, Lori, or I could take a shot?
I mean, yeah, I guess that is generally what the counts are to show. I would say us that are active transportation program staff, we we understand fully the limitations of counts, but that is a data point that a lot of people are interested in because it's the one that I think is the easiest to understand and you know, I think what people would like to see is there was 10 people walking before the project was built and now there's 100 people walking. That it doesn't actually work that way, but that's what I think the hope is that people would see. So anyway, we're working through that and how we can best make sure people understand what counts are really showing. And sometimes that it takes a while for facilities to reach the level of use that would be relevant to show. And there is a before and after.
Very good. Marianne, do you want to take us to the next question? Thanks so much, Lori, for jumping in on that. I know there is a cycle 7, some cycle 7 related questions. Beverly had responded in the chat with some answers, but maybe Lori, would you mind just sharing any details you might have about next cycles and stuff?
So what Beverly wrote is what we can say right now, that we anticipate that the cycle 7 would follow our usual schedule, which would mean the guidelines would be approved in March of 2024. And that would be when the call for projects would go out, and then the projects applications would be due probably in mid-June. However, like Beverly noted, every cycle is different, and we can't say for sure that that's exactly what's going to happen. So it's best to participate in the workshops and to follow what's going on, because at this point, our funding is going to be lower in the next cycle. So we're working through the best way to handle that in the next cycle. So that's all we can say right now, is that's what we anticipate, but it could change. And the schedule is part of the guidelines. So it's something that we talk about through the guidelines workshop process.
Thank you, Lori. Victoria, this is a question, or anybody on the panel can answer. This is Jean. She wants to know about newer grant programs out now, the Safe Streets for All, carbon reduction, and if ATRC can help with these funds.
So we don't get involved in many of those other grants. We do have some crossover, goals. But I would say if you're interested in like the highways to boulevards or, the climate adaptation, I would reach out to Gretchen Chavez in our office. I can put her name in the chat. And for any of the other programs, just feel free to contact me and I can put you in touch with the right person in our Division of Local Assistance for those kinds of grants. But we only have, the ATRC is focused on ATP. That is their goal. That's our mission, is to, we're supporting the ATP program. So we don't get involved in those other programs unless you want to add something there, Lori.
If I could add something, I will say that we get a lot of attendance for funding focused webinars. And so because the ATP program is, especially with non-infrastructure components, the competitive projects are asked to be able to sustain themselves, past the life of the ATP funding. We do like to tout other opportunities to maintain momentum, either grow the program through complementary funding sources. So we do a lot of, as part of our efforts, are able to kind of work closely and figure out what are the elements of other programs that could be possibly sought in order to complement or sustain ATP focused efforts. So we do see ourselves in collaboration with these other programs, and certainly Air Resources Board and the safety parts of Caltrans provide, and Clean California is another one. Lots of good opportunities there. So I think being able to connect with the right people is great. So HRC through Kathy certainly will help to make sure that this information is available for all who are seeking it. So so there's someone who looks like they want to Azada.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Azadeh, you can unmute yourself.
Azadeh.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I thank you so much for the great webinars. I have a question regarding the location that we are ordering for pre-construction accounts and after. I do have recently a project that when I read the guideline, it wasn't very clear regarding the how many intersection. For example, if my project is medium, I have like 25 intersection involved in that project. My limitation, as I understood, was like 3 intersections that I have to put it in the order for the counts. I ordered like 4 or 5, but I'm wondering if we can order more, or it has to be in certain, like, I don't know, it's not very clear for me. If you can explain that one, that would be great.
So let me just see if I can repeat your question. So you've got an existing ATP project and you're looking to do your before project counts, and you're looking at the guidance and you're trying to figure out the locations based on the guidance, or you're trying to figure out if you need more counters for your data collection.
Yeah, I need to know, do we have a limitation on ordering the counts for like locations, or limitation on the location? Like if we have like 25 intersection in that project, based on the guideline, it was like the most location intersection we can order the counts was 3. But I'm wondering if we can have more location for my study. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
to
I
attach for our ATP applications.
Kathy, do you want to take that question? But I
would say that, the more information, the better. However, when you say order counts, I want to make it clear we are not doing the counts. The counts are being
Of course. Of course. No. Maybe I wasn't clear on that one. We have to order, but when I read the guideline, I couldn't understand. It wasn't very clear that the locations that we have to submit to for the pre-construction, that was like, there was a limitation, like 3 locations, for example, out of 25. That's my question. If we can order, we can have more locations, or it has to be in that limit of the guideline.
It may be that the CalSmarts, and I haven't been in there, but it may be that CalSmarts only allows you to upload for 3 locations. And Angela, you may be able to answer that question better than I, but what I would suggest is if you want to do that, if you want to have more locations to do those counts, go ahead and do so, and then pick the best 3 that you think represents the success of your project in the end. Lori and or Angela, does anybody else have any other comments?
Well, what I was going to say is that the reason that we have the counts guidance is prior to having that counts guidance, implementers were just doing counts however, whenever, whatever. And the problem with that is then it's the data as a whole is not consistent. So it's not very useful to tell us anything about the program. So that's why we developed the interim counts guidance, is that so there was a consistent methodology that the agencies, that the implementers were using. And so that's why it's somewhat, you know, prescriptive on how the times and the locations of where you do the counts, because without that, it's just, we just can't use the data to tell us much about what's happening with the program.
Yeah, and if I could just chime in, I will say that one of the big takeaways from the guidance right now is that you really want the process for conducting before counts to mimic what will be used in the after counts. So I think the idea about, you know, limiting locations was really about, you know, creating, you know, a minimum standard so that then you could execute that same process and protocol for, you know, your data collection post project build. So does that make sense? So it's
Yes,
really
thank you so much. Yeah,
good.
my project is Safe Route to School, and I chose the location, the closest one to school, and then based on the crashes data I had, I had to choose some of them. I had more location, but for the application, I just used only like 3-4 of them. Thank you so much for your answers and presentation. Thank you.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'll just add, Azadeh, that probably the number one most important thing is that you're doing your before and after the same way.
Sure.
Because then that's where you're you know, showing the actual difference.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Sure.
I will make sure that it will be consistent and I show the improvement. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
All right, Marianne, I'm just doing a time check. It looks like we're at 10:25, and I know we have just a few wrap-up slides. Do you see more questions that we can answer?
No, Azadeh was the last one regarding counts that I saw. And then thanks, Angela, for putting in the various, and Kathy for putting in the various links and contact information. As all these resources that are in the chat will come out after the meeting, as will the slides and recordings. We'll say it one more time, but okay, Victoria, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, that's great. All right, and thank you so much, Lori and Kathy and Angela for coming offline coming on camera and answering those questions. Let's see. All right, so we've got some contact information. I know some of it's been in the chat, but here we wanted to highlight Kathy's email and phone number, and as well as Michael's. So Michael will be away for a couple more weeks. So I think at this point, we want you to reach out to Kathy if possible. And certainly Marianne and I are here to field questions and work with the Caltrans team if needed. Here's our information. Oops, sorry, I'll go back one. Our email addresses are here. We also have some general boxes, and this will go out as well as part of the resources, but you can reach us through atsp@cdph.ca.gov, or there's also a non-infrastructure general inbox line email address for Department of Transportation. With all our webinars, we will ask you when you leave the webinar to complete a 3-minute survey. This survey should pop up when you press the leave button. Please complete it to help guide us in our future events. And then just as a reminder, the recording, slides, and resources will be posted to the HRC website. And that's what we have for you today. So thank you so much for everyone attending, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Victoria.
All right.